Jeffrey's morning routine starts with busting a nut. His nighttime routine ends with busting a nut. He doesn't understand why he's always so tired and why he feels like he has no drive to do hard work. Adonis. Adonis lives like a monk. He laughs at his impulses and cravings. He knows that they don't control him. He goes through focus periods where he puts his all into his purpose, ignoring the distractions of women, sex, and porn. I've been on NoFap for about 5 years, but I've always had sex during that time, so it's been fairly easy. About 2 months ago, I went fully celibate. I stopped thinking about women and I dropped out of the dating market. Here's my experience. But first, my name is Hamza. I help young men go through the Jeffrey to Adonis transformation through self-improvement. You're clearly interested in that. Scroll down right now, click on the subscribe and the post notification button. It's a win-win for both of us. So I think like most guys, I used to have a porn addiction. I used to jack off 3 to 5 times a day when I was a teenager or when I was about 18 years old. I found NoFap when I was 18 and I struggled at first like everyone else does. I would always get to day 3 and then just start busting a nut again. And I struggled like that, for a while. Okay, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 7, whatever, but nothing like to a great length. And NoFap became very normal and somewhat easy for me when I was about 19 and I actually just started to have sex, because I used to just view it very positively, like, okay, this is the real thing. So I'm not going to do the fake thing by myself. I'm just going to save up so I get a bigger nut with these women. So it became normal for me. And so that's why I've never truly struggled with NoFap as much as the guys that I speak to have. But what I have struggled with to a huge level, the biggest distraction in my life, which is women in general, not just porn, not just jacking off, but just women and the need for intimacy and how dependent I am and how dependent my self-worth is on the women that are currently interested in me. I was in a relationship about 2.5 months ago, and it felt awesome to get this need fulfilled. It felt awesome to be loved by a woman, to love a woman, and to partner up in this sense. But I remember being in this relationship and actually thinking that if it ended for whatever reason, I would fully consider doing the full semen retention, full celibacy thing, like the full monk mode, because I've never considered that before. That is completely new to me, to think you would purposely not sleep with girls. Like, okay, NoFap, absolutely. No porn, of course. We're never going to watch porn ever again in our lives. But to purposely not sleep with the girl who wants to sleep with you, who you want to sleep with, it was foreign to me. And I started understanding the value of that about 2 months ago. And so I actually did this sort of declaration for myself, thinking that I would fully consider it if me and my ex broke up, and we did. And so I did some journaling. I realized that I am not the man who can attract the woman that I want. And I speak kind of harshly to the camera, to you boys, to get you into gear. So I'll speak harshly to myself. I'm not good enough. Simple as that. I am not good enough to attract the type of women that I actually want in my life. When I did a calculation of where I am in life and what my current value is, my sexual market value, I'm about a 4.8 out of 10. And that includes having the body. Here's a picture of me. That includes having the body. That includes the work I've done over the last year. I'm a 4.8 out of 10. We can say, 10 is unreasonable. That's if everything goes right in your life and you can maximize your potential. But let's say 9. I'm about halfway to my potential. Half is good, and obviously success compounds like this. So what life is going to be like closer to a 9 is completely unrecognizable at this current point in time. And so I've been celibate for about 2 months now. For 2 months, I have had no sexual intercourse with women, which is the longest time since I lost my virginity when I was 19 years old. I never thought I would consider something like this, I'm not going to lie, but the value of it and the benefits of it have been pretty immense. And it's shown me a different side to life where women are not the main priority. So the experience is as follows. After the breakup, I almost straight away, I did the whole thing where I was thinking, you know what? No dating, no sex, no nothing. If a attractive woman was asking me for sex, I'd literally say no. And so I deleted all the app. I didn't even download the apps after me and my ex broke up. I literally didn't even plan to rebound or anything. I just didn't want to think about girls at all. And you know what? Instantly, my productivity increased. Here is one of the last weeks that I was with my girlfriend and I was in, the dating world and shit. And my productivity is fucking trash. I'm missing days. Some days I was so lazy that I didn't even just count up the lines. I count up the number of hours. And on this other side is what it was like when I went into the celibacy. I went into, not thinking about dating or anything. My productivity is better than most people's. My focus is better than most people's. If you think that's egotistical, whatever, this channel's not for you, because we speak about facts here and that's the truth. My productivity during this moment when I first got celibate was significantly better than my productivity, which is significantly better than most people's productivity, which was fucking insane. And this was deep work. This wasn't just number of hours worked. This is deep work. The author who wrote the book Deep Work said that the max is about 4 hours. I was pushing 8-hour days and it was deep work. It was truly, truly deep work hours. But then I made a mistake. I was doing really well on this. I was focused. I was being productive. I was smashing some work and everything. I did a lot. Like I've made about $10,000, not 10,000, probably a little bit less than that, but I've made let's say 7,000, maybe a bit more than that over the last 2 weeks or so because of the work that I did during this first period of celibacy. I went away, I can't tell if I consciously made the mistake or I can't tell if it just kind of, happened or something, but I got more of a desire for women again. So for the first, few weeks of celibacy, there was no desire for women. I was just focused on the business, enjoying the goals and the process and everything. And then just slowly and surely, the thoughts came into my mind of wanting the partnership and wanting the love and missing my ex and everything. And I invited my ex onto a podcast. We spoke. It was a very good conversation. And that just opened up the feelings again. It opened up my interest in women again. We didn't get back together. Near the end of the video, I believe in the podcast, you can see we're flirting at the end. We're literally just talking as if we're partners again. And so we didn't get back together. I slept on it and then just sent her a text the next morning saying nah, we're not going to meet up or anything. But then since that point, we spoke fairly often, just casual text saying oh, I'm thinking of you, I'm doing this. And it reminds me of you. I love you and shit. And this was comforting to do, but it was just not helpful in the slightest. Well, it was helpful in a certain sense that it reframed my mind to be more positive of her and her to me, but it hasn't been helpful to move on at all. And it opened up that thing of having women in my life and the desires come back. And so to put it short and to put it blunt, out of these 2 months of celibacy, the first month was voluntary. The first month was, okay, I'm being celibate. I don't want to date anymore. And honestly, for the second month, I've become a f***ing incel. Obviously, I'm not the internet f***ing weirdos and stuff, but if the term of incel means involuntarily celibate, which means that you'd want to have sex, but you just can't have sex right now because, you're not getting girls or anything. That's exactly what's happened to me. So I've got the humility to admit that, where for the past month or so, I've had this constant desire, this constant obsession in my mind to connect with women, that I truly, truly want a partner again. I opened this life back up. I downloaded the apps again on Tinder and Bumble and shit, and started using Instagram a lot more to message girls. And it's I can conclude it already, where it's just not really worth it. There's one main girl that I'm talking to right now who's a very sweet girl, and I went on a date with her, and the date was fantastic. Honestly, one of the best, probably the best, first date I've ever been on, as close as I got to someone. But I can't escape the feeling that this is the instant gratification, and that the real, the hardcore way that Hamza should be doing it is obviously the dopamine detox type of shit. I can't tell if that's ego as well, but I can't escape the mindset that dating at this age, I'm 24. Dating at this age, at this low value. So you're probably just like me. Let's be honest. You're about my age. You're low value, probably a little bit lower value than me if you're taking advice from me. I'm a 4.8 out of 10, bro. We're not doing autistic or looks maxing type of shit. I'm just saying that I've done the calculations of my money, my status, my looks, my game, and everything that can come into just, if you had to quantify your value that you bring to a woman, it's about a 4.8 out of 10. It's good enough to attract women. It's good enough to sleep with them and to get them to be my girlfriend and stuff, but it's not good enough to settle at this point, to spend so much time and mental energy in the dating world at this point. A mindset that I've had recently is that speaking to girls and dating girls and sleeping with them is kind of enjoying the fruits of your labor. and you should enjoy the fruits of your labor because that's the whole point of your labor. But if you enjoy the fruits of your labor too early, the fruits aren't even ripe yet. And if you do it too much, you haven't even planted the seeds for your future self to enjoy. That's why I've somewhat opened it back up, because I was feeling like a huge sense of loneliness, but not in the social sense. Like, I've got more friends than I've ever had before. I've got more social interaction than I've ever had in my entire life. And this was before I even started opening up my real life social life again. And that's something I've just been doing recently. I've been like booking to go to see friends and stuff. But just because of how many people I speak to on a daily basis, it feels like I'm socially connected to a very, very high level and to a good quality level. But the one thing that's been lacking has been women who give me like a sense of intimacy. That's where I'm at. I can't exactly, like, I can give you some advice, and I will do now, but I'm not the professional. I'm not at the golden point of, I can tell you that, you know what I mean? I'm just reporting what I've experienced so far. And I'd say that, to put it bluntly, the first month was celibacy. It was complete focus on the work. And the second month was incel. Incel. It was just like wanting to date, but just not really doing it. Being on the apps, but kind of dead conversations, meeting one girl and booking some other things in with some girls, to like meet them here and there, and just kind of not. It's probably not incel then, to be honest, because I'm kind of like, the girls are interested in me, but maybe I'm not. Yeah, that makes me sound better as well. So we'll go with that one. I'm not actually an incel. I can't tell if my mindset of wanting to just drop out of the dating market, to not think about women, to completely focus on my purpose for some years, I can't tell if that's like too extreme or if that's exactly what I should be doing. I really can't tell anymore, because I was probably happiest when I did this, and it was happy in like a very quality way where there was no kind of detriment to it. Whereas the happiness I've gotten from love led to a huge detriment and a huge heartbreak. And then practically, if I'm looking at it with like a stone cold heart, it makes sense to not be dating, at least seriously, right now. So at the moment, I'm like halfway where I'm still kind of celibate, but I can't even tell you if that's because I want to be celibate or because I'm an incel who wants to have sex, but he's just not having sex because girls don't want to have sex with him. I think it's about half. I think that most guys are about here where they would interact with women if more women were interested in them, especially like high quality women. But they also see the value in just not being distracted by women at this age too. And so I'm about the middle, and I've experienced both sides. And honestly, like it's like the first month of my celibacy was much better. I was much happier. But the one experience that I've had in this second month just recently, when I went on this first date with this girl, like it was a very, very fulfilling moment to connect with a woman like that. But it's also led to like distractions, like mental distractions, where now I'm obsessing about this girl. Like I'm literally fucking cuddling my pillow about this new girl now, and I'm excited to meet her again. And like that sounds healthy to me, but it also, I don't even know, man. I don't even know, bro. I fucking hate bitches, bro. I literally wish I was gay, honestly. If anyone's gay and they want to hit me up, bro, just do it. He's got a bicep vein. That's the one thing I'm sure about, is I've got a popping bicep vein, mate. I should go into the semen retention. Literally no jacking off, no nothing, no sex for 2 months. I've busted a couple of nuts at nighttime, but I don't think that counts as like a wet dream or anything. In terms of that, honestly, I'd love to say, semen retention, like this is what everyone's saying online, but honestly, I think it's been more of a distraction than it needed to be. Because NoFap's fantastic. No porn is absolutely vital. We're all on no porn. You don't get to watch porn anymore. But semen retention, which is you literally just don't nut. I can't really see it being like I've experienced it now, and I think it's potentially more extreme and strict than it should be, because I think it's led to more distraction. Having for 2 months not purposely bust a nut, I'm more distracted now than I was 2 months ago when I was having sex 5-10 times a week, because now it's like there's something like missing. Like I think as a man with testosterone and shit, it's like I think you need that sense of intimacy, and the biggest intimacy, the biggest sense of worth that we get. We shouldn't get it from other people, but I think that's bullshit. I think we automatically do get our sense of worth from other people, and the biggest person that we get it from is going to be our woman, like the woman we've chose to connect with. And the biggest sense of intimacy from that is having sex with them. And I think restricting myself from that, honestly, like my productivity, like Sam will say this, but my productivity over the last few weeks has been pretty trash. So whilst I've still been celibate, still been on semen retention, it's been low. Now, of course, we could say this is because although you've been celibate, although you've been on semen retention, you've been doing it in an incel way where you have wanted to do this stuff. You've wanted to meet girls. You've met a girl. You've been booking dates in and stuff. And that could potentially be it. So you can probably sense that I'm not completely certain of what I'm doing right now either. And so I don't know which way I'm going to go from here. I will be reading some of the comments every now and then on this video. So if anyone's got some like advice for me, I'll take some advice from you and we'll go from there. But at least from right now, I'm not using dating apps. I hate interacting with women on technology because I find that it's like you're talking to a shell of a person if you're messaging them. And yeah, it's just like, I find maybe it's my participant pool or some shit, but like if they're into you, they're good at texting. But in general, because of this God level abundance they have when they've got 50 times more matches than you do, it's like you're talking to a shell of a person, like a f***ing robot who doesn't have time to reply and shit. And so that coupled with the fact that I think dating apps are just bad for your testosterone and your mental clarity, your mental health, because you're swiping all these bitches and 48 of them essentially have rejected you or shown that they're not interested in you because you haven't matched with them, which must hit your self-esteem. Like honestly, if you're going on these apps and you're seeing 100 girls every day and you're not matching with them, it shows like 100 girls have essentially rejected you or at least not found you interesting enough. So I don't want to be on these apps. And so the way that I'm kind of interacting right now is that I'm literally speaking to one girl. And apart from that, I'm focusing instead on improving my social life. That's my big goal right now. I think I've improved so many areas of my life. What I want is my in real life social circle to be built up again. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to be the initiator. I'm going to start meeting old friends up again and start like branching out. When I go out for these social events, that's when I'm going to, like, if there's a woman who I'm attracted to, I'm going to go speak to her. Because that to me is like the most beautiful, most authentic, most exciting and challenging way to meet a woman is to literally just see her and go up and speak to her. Like that puts me in a flow state. Like if we see the graph of flow, Sam, throw that up for me, please. The graph of the flow state, it needs to be something which has a high level of challenge and a high level of reward. And that puts us into flow. Dating apps are like all the way near the fucking bottom, where there's a low reward, low challenge. And that's why we feel so like apathetic when we use dating apps. We feel so bored using them. I just don't want to experience that shit. Like I think I'm like completely done with dating apps from now. I can't tell if I'm like fully celibate. Maybe right now I'm probably like an incel because I probably would sleep with a woman right now. Yeah, I would. So right now I'm more of an incel, which I didn't think I'd ever say before, but yeah. That I think, but to be honest, if we use at least the definition I'm using, I think then potentially like almost every single man then is an incel. Every single man would like to have sex, but he's just currently not really having sex with that. At least, yeah, he's just not, let's be honest. And so right now I'm an incel. So yeah. Yeah, I'm going to wrap that up. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Don't sleep with the girl, even when you feel like it. I don't know.